Brother, Can You Spare a Date is a really brilliant episode of Good Advice with a really great supporting cast. This is the 5th episode of the 2nd season of Good Advice. This is directed by Dielhenn, and as always, there will be spoilers as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And as I said, really great narrative, really brilliant cast. Starts off, as it usually does, with Susan in a therapy session, and there are some communication issues. Not my favourite opening, but it wasn't too bad. We have a subplot with Paige trying to start up a new business. It was nice padding, we didn't focus on it too much, but I liked it. The main narrative revolves around the fact that Susan comes to work and announces that she's ready to start dating again. And she seems quite excited about this. Everybody else is happy for her. Everybody except Paige. Paige doesn't think she's ready, but Susan is confident that it's time, and Jack introduces her to his friend Paulie, played by Fred Stoller. I love Fred Stoller. He's so funny, and his character in this, I wish we'd gotten a little bit more out of his character, but I did like him. What we got was good. And Artie's friend Jonathan, played by Ballard, is a restaurant critic, and Susan decides to go on a date with him, but they're actually going to be triple dating with Paige there, and also a character called Marilyn. I'll talk about her in a moment. We then go to the restaurant, really nice set design, really nice atmosphere. Marilyn is there on a date as well. She's played by the wonderful Harriet Sansom Harris, so her character didn't say a lot, but also did. I won't say too much about that. I know I said spoilers, but it was an interesting character. She brought something interesting to it, and quite quickly Susan begins to panic. And I think this feels very realistic, maybe a little dramatic, but also I can believe it because Jonathan touches her hand, he kind of pats her hand, and he then leans close to look at the menu that she's holding, and she begins to panic. And she goes to the ladies' room. She makes Paige go with her by calling her own phone, which was a very bizarre moment, and it's a very big phone, but she makes Paige go with her, and she's drying her armpits in the hand dryer because she's sweating, and she realises she needs more time. So she's going to go back to the table and tell Jonathan she's not feeling well, and she does. And just as she's about to leave, she turns around and realises that if she doesn't do this now, she doesn't think she'll ever be able to get back out there. She doesn't know when she'll give this another try. And this comes after the fact that, well, we have an anecdote in the ladies' room about a time when she was in water and it didn't go to plan when she was a child, and it really affected her confidence. And I think that that's a really good point. It doesn't mean that she would never go back out there and try again, but I think it would be exceptionally more difficult if you try and, I guess in her view, fail at it, even though I think just the fact that she went out in itself was an achievement. But if she had a really bad experience, it's going to be harder to get back out there. So I like the fact that she turned around again. Unfortunately, I don't love how it played out, because once she did that, I thought, great, she's going to enjoy the rest of the date. It's not a big commitment, it's one night. And she said it's just a date with a kiss at the end. What's the big deal? And then she kissed Jonathan, which I guess was out of the blue and I suppose funny, and then left. So in her mind, she'd finished the date, but I actually don't think she did. And I don't like that for Susan. I wanted her to stay on that date and get through it and ultimately probably have a good time. And I think after saying that, Jonathan probably would have backed off a bit. He probably wouldn't have been as touchy-feely, and it would have been a much better experience for her. So I didn't love the ending, but I loved the message. And in general, really thoroughly enjoyed the episode. Really great supporting cast here, and I can't complain. Brother, Can You Spare a Date is ultimately a really great episode of Good Advice. I'm pretty happy.